Are you ready?
It's right here.
Macau. 3, 2, 1, begin.
The discovery and settlement of Hawaii. There once was a man called Hawaiiloa. Hawaiiloa was one of the 4 children of Aniani Kaulani. Hawaiiloa and his brothers were born on the east coast of a land called Ka'aina Kai Mele Mele a Kane. Hawaiiloa was a distinguished man and noted for his fishing excursions, which would occupy months, sometimes years, sometimes the whole year, during which he would roam about the ocean in his big va'a, sometimes called a moku, with his crew, officers, and navigators. One time, when they had been at sea for a long time, Makali'i, the principal navigator, said to Hawaiiloa, "Let's steer the canoe in the direction of Hokuhikina Q o na Aina, the eastern star, the discoverer of land. There is land to the east, and here is a red star, Hoku'ula, to guide us. And the land there is in the direction of those big stars, which resemble a bird." It resembles a bird. And the red star was called Makali'i after the navigator. Some other red stars in the circle of the bird in the circle of Pleiades was called the Huhuki a Makali'i, or the cluster of Makali'i. So they steered onward and arrived at the easternmost island of the Hawaiian chain. They went ashore and found the land fertile and pleasant, filled with awa, coconut trees, and so on. And Hawaiiloa gave that land his name. Here they dwelt a long time, and when their canoe was filled with vegetables, food, and fish, they returned to their native country. With the intention of returning to Hawaii, which they preferred to their own country. They had left their wives and children at home, therefore they returned to get them. When Hawaiiloa and his men arrived in their own country and among their relatives, they were detained for a long time before they set out again for Hawaii. At last, Hawaiiloa sailed again, accompanied by his wife and children. His wife and children lived in this little hale. He settled in Hawaii and gave up all hope, all thought of ever returning to his native land. He was accompanied on this voyage by a great crowd of people, steersmen, navigators, shipbuilders, and others. Hawaiiloa was the chief. Of all of these men, he also brought his wife and children, which lived in this little house. All of the others came singly, without women, so he was the progenitor of this nation. On their voyage here, the morning star called Hokuloa was the special star they steered by, and Hawaiiloa called the islands after the names of his children and the stars after his navigators and steersmen. The island of Maui was called after Hawaiiloa's firstborn son. The island of Oahu was called after Hawaiiloa's daughter, and her foster parent was Lua, hence the name Oahualua. Kauai was called after Hawaiiloa's younger son. His wife's name was Wailele, and they lived on Kauai, and the mountain was called after her because there she was buried. And thus the other islands and districts were called after the first settlers. The end.